Now, as you guys know, a couple weeks back I did a video covering the top 5 Pokemon I used to hate but eventually grew to love. But as I published the video online, I thought to myself, what Pokemon did I used to love but now hate with a glowing passion? And surprisingly, there are quite a few Pokemon that I used to treasure at one point in time, but now wouldn't mind seeing go through a wood chipper. So much so that today I decided to make a list of the top 5 Pokemon I used to love but now hate. Just remember that this video is entirely my own opinion, and if you don't hate these Pokemon like I do, that's totally fine. And before we start, if you have a Pokemon that you feel brings out the same emotions as these 5, be sure to let me know who they are and why in the comments section below. If you guys enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And with that being said, let's get started. Starting off this list, we have my first ever fully evolved starter being Meganium. When I first picked up Pokemon Silver all those years ago, I was faced with the excruciating choice that all trainers must face: picking your starter Pokemon. Even today, it's a tough decision to make, as one of the main points of the starter Pokemon is to appeal to as many people as possible and make us fall in love with them. And for me, that starter was Chikorita. It was honestly just really cute to me, and that's a good enough reason. Then came time for Chikorita to evolve, which some people dread. Not saying all middle stage starters look bad, but they can just be a little awkward looking. The best comparison would be that they're teenagers going through puberty. However, there's always some exceptions to the rules of the world, and Bayleaf was certainly that exception. It maintained all of the things that made Chikorita super awesome, but just amplified it. Whether it's having the leaf on its head be right in the middle like a horn, making it look more dinosaur-like, all the while it still was freaking adorable. And of course, we have those super rad doobies around its neck. Anyway, one would assume with the rare case of having an awesome middle stage, surely the final evolution must blow the other two out of the water, right? Well, in Meganium's case, not so much. I will admit at the time though, I did really like Meganium's design. It was the big dinosaur that would naturally make any little kid super excited to use. But as time passed, I started to notice all of the flaws in Meganium that I just couldn't ignore. Aside from turning back to green and having the big flower on its neck, Meganium just didn't really change all that much from Bayleaf. Sure, it looks cool to some degree, but it's just not that different. It's the classic case of it just got bigger. And that's fine in some cases, but not so much for the starter. These are supposed to be the Pokemon that travel with us throughout our entire journey, and to just have minor changes feels a bit disappointing. I mean, look at Feraligatr and Typhlosion. They look so intimidating and powerful in addition to having some solid designs. Speaking of power, Meganium is also the weakest starter from Johto as well, so it just adds more injury to insult. But if you want to know what the strongest starter in Johto is, be sure to check out this video here. So yeah, as a starter choice, there just seems to be nothing too redeeming to me about Meganium anymore. Even with Typhlosion not having super complex characteristics and being kind of weak itself, it's still different enough from both its pre-evolutions to stand on its own and get the job done in Johto a lot easier. And had I known how Chikorita would have turned out, I would have definitely picked up a Cyndaquil instead. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have the Adam Sandler Pokemon being Wobbuffet. I call him the Adam Sandler Pokemon because when I was younger, Wobbuffet used to make me laugh, but now, almost 2 decades of the same gags, I'm kind of annoyed by him. I mean, seriously, when Wobbuffet was taken out of the anime during Generation 5, I was really relieved that I might not have to see him again. But it was a short-sighted sigh of relief as he made his triumphant return in the X and Y anime. Oh my god, kill me now. But what makes this even worse is that that's not even the worst part about this thing. Ever since I began doing Nuzlockes and Pokemon runs, Wobbuffet has been the bane of my existence. With combos of abilities and moves like Shadow Tag, Counter, Miracle, Destiny Bond, in addition to his very high HP stat, this asshole can take a beating and then instantly knock you out and end your entire run. Honestly, it's a real shame. Something that used to make me smile and laugh has slowly evolved into something that makes me want to rip my fucking hair out. Now, number 3 might seem a little ridiculous to some of you. However, this is my list, so naturally it's totally justified in my eyes. We have one of the legendary birds from Kanto, Moltres. One of the first times I was introduced to Moltres was in the Power of One movie. Everything about the legendary birds felt so glorious and one with nature. I really appreciated all of them back in the day. But as with all of the Pokemon on this list, my mind changed drastically over time. My main reasoning as to why I'm not fond of Moltres anymore is really simple. It just looks so stupid. I mean, as a kid, I was excited and easily entertained by anything really, but especially by these very special battles with the legendary birds. It really gave you the feeling that you were fighting a super powerful and majestic Pokemon that were forces to be reckoned with. And you can definitely get that feeling with Articuno and Zapdos, but looking at Moltres now, I feel like I'm just fighting this screaming rubber chicken meme. Seriously, it just looks like the big rubber chicken on fire. That's about it. Again, I know this might sound ridiculous, but this thing is supposed to be a legendary Pokemon, meaning an amazing creature that you should tread lightly around. Moltres has absolutely none of these features. It's hard to take this thing seriously at all. I mean, even Combuskin looks more intimidating than this thing, and he looks like a penis. But hey, appearances aren't everything, right? Let's just take a look at how well it does competitively. Oh, not very good. So, at the moment, there's nothing redeemable about this Pokemon. It can't be taken seriously as a legendary between its looks and fighting abilities, and it really breaks my heart. The only thing I can hope for in the future is that it gets a Mega Evolution or something to spice up its design and buff those stats a bit. So for Moltres, I said I disliked it because I feel its design is dumb and sucks competitively. But funny enough, the reasons as to why I hate number 2 on this list is really close to being the exact opposite. And that Pokemon is none other than Togekiss. As many of you guys know, Generation 4 is one of my all-time favorite generations. It added so many awesome features like online compatibility, the physical special split, and of course, more evolutions for old Pokemon. Honestly, aside from a few, these new evolutions really did their predecessors justice. We have super amazing ones like Magnezone, Magmortar, Weavile, and of course, Togekiss. Since my introduction into Pokemon was with Generation 2, a lot of those Pokemon hold a special place in my heart. So it goes without saying that I really like Togepi. I thought it was super cute, and I loved the whole deal that our first introduction into Pokemon eggs was literally just an egg. All of its cute antics in the anime also just really sold me on how amazing this Pokemon was. And Togetic wasn't half bad either, as turning into a flying type was definitely a nice surprise. So you can probably imagine my excitement when I found out there was one more Pokemon in the line. Togekiss was, and still is, just so beautiful and really was the perfect way they could have finished off Togepi's evolution. So what's the issue then? Well, once I decided to dip my toes in the competitive pool, I saw what a terror this thing can actually be. A combination of Serene Grace, flinching, and secondary effect moves was enough to make me never look at this thing the same way ever again. And I'm really not being that hyperbolic either. All of the positive points became null and void the moment I got hit with an Air Slash from a Serene Grace Togekiss. In addition to that, it gained the Fairy typing in Generation 6, and that just made it even more terrifying. Sure, it's in UU, but there's always going to be that fear that one day I'll run into someone who decides to bring that annoying monster on their team. And if that does happen, my hatred will only grow for it. And finally, at the number 1 spot, we have a Pokemon that you all might be familiar with, as it appeared on my top 5 most disappointing Pokemon list. Frickin' Pyroar, but more specifically, male Pyroar. Now, on that list, I mentioned that I actually really liked male Pyroar, but the reasons it disappointed me were because of its stats and the lower encounter rate of the male version. Now, those are still fair criticisms, however, my opinion on the Pokemon as a whole has drastically changed since then, and obviously, it's still not in a good way. The more that I looked at it, the more I felt that male Pyroar had the weaker design. Female lions don't really have too many discernible features, so I can imagine it would be hard to make an interesting design of one. But Game Freak actually really pulled through with its much more slender design and long wispy hair, whereas male Pyroar is kind of just a lion. Not that that's a bad thing, but it would have been nicer to have seen something more interesting to look at. One thing that I think would have worked so much better on both Pokemon was actually having fire for their mains rather than just the coloration of flames. That could have made both of them pop a lot more in my opinion. But since that's not the case, we just have a bare bones lion and a more interesting lioness. So what could my issue possibly be? Well, it comes from the oversaturation of male Pyroar and the battling prowess. Now, being a larger fan of female Pyroar, it's become very annoying to see it get no love while male Pyroar gets all the attention from fans. Even from Pokemon themselves. An example of this comes from the TCG of all places. Pyroar has made 7 appearances throughout different sets and promos, and only one of them has been a female Pyroar. And even that one female Pyroar took them 4 years to finally do. They didn't even do it the justice of being in the background of one of the other 6 cards. But even then, none of that really matters because both Pyroar have a whole stink at competitive battling. And they're supposed to be one of the bigger Pokemon of Generation 7, being Lysandre's signature Pokemon, but can't even do anything in battle. I said it once and I'll say it again. This is a personal gripe of mine, but why on earth did they make Pyroar a special attacker? I get it, you know, there's a lot of special attacking fire moves in the game, but lions attack physically. And I get that it's a Pokemon game, so they don't have to act like they do in the real world, but did they have to give him Moxie? Did they have to ruin my soul like this? Couldn't they have just given, you know, a special attacking version of Moxie? Or competitive, or solar power or something, not Moxie? It just doesn't make any sense to me, okay? It just doesn't. So yes, while my opinion on Pyroar has changed in some areas, the overall outcome is still the same. The awesome potential that ends in disappointment makes me hate this thing, and I only hope that they can make some adjustments in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments section below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and become an Eryizo today. If you want to check out the previous video I did, be sure to click the annotation on the left. If you want to see more Pokemon Let's Go videos, click the other annotation on the right. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time.